The new year starts back at Anfield, and with the Reds sitting atop the Premier League table. Just one league defeat so far this season. When they last faced today's opponents, though, they had to come from behind to claim victory. It was a thrilling meeting, but to be fair, most meetings between these sides tend to be pretty decent. It is Liverpool versus Newcastle United in England's top flight to kickstart 2024 in style. We get underway here at 8 p.m. this evening. Welcome along to Anfield and to Matchday Live. Gary Gillespie and Phil Thompson are with me for this one. Gentlemen, Happy New Year to you both. Gary, first footing me. You brought some whiskey, coal, as the tradition in your native homeland?
No, I haven't. I did all that last night, to be honest with you. So I do apologise for not.
I'll let you off.
Yeah.
Any New Year's resolutions, gents?
No, not really. I don't tend to do them anymore. Can't keep to them.
Let's get a job in a warmer place in a drier climate, I think.
Drier climate, yeah.
Gentlemen, it's a big game to get underway for 2024. And if we look at the top of the Premier League table, Tomo, what a fabulous position we begin this year in.
Do you know what? It's surprised us, hasn't it? We've done numerous matchday lives and how the team has developed. And as we spoke, there's still, I believe, a lot more to come from it. A lot of results have been kind to us, but we've got to do our own stuff. And it stays like today against Newcastle United, who it's always going to be a tricky match, but it's heartwarming to see where we are in the league.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Arsenal stutter in the last couple of games, and seeing the closing stage of the match against Fulham just last time out. You know, Fulham were good value, really, for the victory as well.
Well, I think I watched, obviously, Arsenal against ourselves, and they started the game exceptionally well, and they started the game against Fulham exceptionally well. In fact, that's been a little bit of a trait, how well they do start games, but then all of a sudden they seem to drop off the pace a little bit, allow the opposition to get back, and that's exactly what they did with us, in all fairness. But Fulham, yeah, I thought they were very, very, very good. They were composed. Arsenal, I think it's going to be a blip. I was quite impressed with them when I saw them play against us, so I think they'll still be there come the end of the season. Interesting to see the last time that we got 40 odd points, or over 41 points at this stage of the season, was the season we went on to win the Premier League, so hopefully, fingers crossed, that is a good omen.
That is the kind of stat I like rolled out for the first game of the new year. Of course, you know, it's a difficult spell of games to navigate, Tomo, at this time of the year. There are so many matches, the demands are high, the schedule's all over the place. We've come through it pretty well. You look at that performance against Burnley on Boxing Day. In control for a large part of it. There was a bit of a wobble, but then get that decisive goal late on to seal it and secure the points as well.
I think that's the thing with us, isn't it? We find a way. Like the first half, I'm watching it and I'm going, we need a second goal. And we're creating chances. And you'd expect us to finish them off. Going back 6 weeks, the boys were finishing everything. But we found it difficult to sort of just get our noses in front and get that third goal to make it a bit more comfortable. It came a bit late, the second goal, but I think overall we were good value for that win. When you look at it, and we're making these tricky games, these banana skin games, we're making them quite comfortable in the end. But it's still, and I think Jurgen's alluded to it, is that we can do better, and it is, and that's there. Certainly finishing at the top end has got to be better.
First appearance since November 25th for Diogo Jota. How timely could his return be, Gary, especially given we will lose Mo Salah to the Africa Cup of Nations very soon? Yeah,
I think it was vitally important. He only came on really as a cameo appearance and now managed to get the second goal, and that's the kind of player he is. He's always a goal threat, whether it be with his head or whether it be with his feet. He gets himself in good positions inside the 18-yard box, and maybe that's something that we've been lacking in recent games. So I think it'll be a big plus. Obviously, with Mohamed Salah going away to the AFCON, I think you'll need everybody available, and certainly Diogo Jota, you just need to look at his goal ratio per games. It's excellent, to be fair, so yeah, big plus for him.
He's got that ability, hasn't he, to take chances. Like, remember the game against, was it Spurs here? The great turnaround, there's a great finish, he's onto things quickly, he works really quickly in the zones, his reactions are good, his execution's very good.
That's great, but I don't think I don't think anybody was expecting him to turn up on the bench against Burnley. So I'm coming back, and you know the way Jurgen and the technical department work, obviously in conjunction with the medical. I don't think they're going to rush him back, and it's no surprise to see him being on the bench again today. but he will probably get 20 minutes again because once Mo goes, we're going to need him. And I think he's that sort of a player. Gary said just then, great in the air. For such a small guy, he gets in between, but his timing is wonderful. And I think he's going to be a massive asset in the second part of the season.
We'll talk about the impact of AFCON and the Asia Cup a little bit later in the show and how that will impact us and I guess other teams as well. It'd be interesting to see what they do with the squad now in the transfer window. We've seen, I think, Owen Beck's come back from Dundee. We've seen Carvalho come back as well. Will they go back out? Will they be part of the squad? There's a sort of decision to be made now because the team are probably in a better position than those above probably expect them to be, given all the change in the summer. So there might be a sort of let's speculate to accumulate approach.
By what do you mean by that? By signing players?
There could be. I'm speculating myself. I don't know. But there's an argument of what you do, who you keep in the group as well, to supplement for the absentees that will go away to international duty.
I mean, I think this is nothing new for Liverpool, isn't it? Like they've had it in the past and we've managed to deal with it. I think you mentioned like the form over December. When you look back in recent seasons, we've performed exceptionally well over December. Listen, it's a big loss losing your number one goal scorer, Mohamed Salah. But with bringing these players back in, then I think it still gives you a little bit extra strength and depth. And as we said before, at the start of the season, I think that's one of our strengths at this moment, or assets at this moment in time. We have better strength and depth than what we maybe had in the last couple of seasons.
See, I think you look at it, and you know, Gerald Kwanzaa has come through defensively to give you an added bonus at the back. He has been outstanding. Endo, who came in and is not a little under the radar, and because he only cost 16 million, we've had this conversation before, he's performed better than what people were expecting. And now McAllister's coming back, so things are starting to look a bit better. It's hard then, you know, who is Casido, who is Lavia, because everybody was moaning, why didn't we get them last summer? People have forgotten about all that, and I think the recruitment's been exceptionally good. I don't think there's a great need, unless we pick up a couple of injuries in the next, because we've got that League Cup semi-final to come as well.
Just thinking about that league table we looked at a little bit earlier, I just wonder what the other teams will be thinking at seeing Liverpool top of the pile, because I imagine they as well at the start of the season weren't really factoring us into the talk of a title charge.
Well, I think when you go back to the beginning of the season, nobody really was mentioning Liverpool, as you rightly say, Mark. I think everybody kind of like went under the radar. I always thought we had a good chance, a good opportunity to be up there. I think everybody was tipping Arsenal and Manchester City. I still think that the best two teams in the Premier League at this moment in time are Manchester City and Liverpool. I expect Manchester City and Liverpool come late March, maybe early April, I think they might just pull away from the rest of them a little bit. And I think come the end of May, I think it's a shootout as between Liverpool and Manchester City for the title.
A lot of those teams, Gary, haven't they?
Aston Villa have been like the
Villa have been very good. They've been consistent. Spurs have done very well in and out. Obviously, Chelsea are not in that race. Arsenal are very, very good. We've had a Newcastle who have started to slip just of late. But we haven't been sort of consistent with performance-wise. You know, you've looked at it and we've been scrappy in a lot of the games, and that's why the other teams will be looking at us and go, wow, look where Liverpool are, and they're yet to hit top form. Because we hit top form where we're consistent. I think this is a frightening team.
The thing is, you mentioned Man City, we expect them to come better. They are getting results now without Erling Haaland. Alvarez has stepped up brilliantly to supplement sort of his loss of goals. But they will not want to see us get too far ahead of them, will they? Because they'll know how difficult we are to stop once we build up a head of steam.
Listen, I think Pep Guardiola and Manchester City have been like close in distance for a long time. I don't think they'll be looking over at Liverpool and worrying too much. I think they'll be concentrating on what they're doing at this moment in time. I think is it like 3 games they've already lost this season, which is like a lot of games for Manchester City to lose. But I don't think they'll be looking over the shoulder. I think first and foremost, like all the teams up there, you've got to concentrate on your own performances and your own results and see where that takes you. And as I say, it's way too early to be talking about the title at this moment in time. I think we were always told like after like Easter is like the time where it really it sorts out the men from the boys, to be quite honest. And I expect that to be the case. And as I said before, I expect it to be Manchester City and Liverpool that will be at the top at that time.
OK, that is the bigger picture of things then. Let's return our attention back to the matter in hand today. It is Liverpool against Newcastle United. Let's get the details of both starting 11s now from Peter McDowell. Pete.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. There's been a bit of a luxury in the 6-day break that you were talking about just before as well, and probably quite a nice selection headache for Jurgen Klopp, particularly at the top of the pitch. Players afforded 2 days off this week, which they probably can't remember the last time that happened. Alexis McAllister applauded back into the gym this week with his return to training, and he is amongst the Liverpool substitutes here tonight. And 3 changes to tell you about where Liverpool's team is concerned as well. Konate, Curtis Jones and Luis Diaz come in. So let's take a look at that team then. 250th Liverpool game in goal tonight for Alisson Becker. 108 quite memorable clean sheets, and even more memorable goal amongst the 250 that he's got for Liverpool as well. We got Gomez in there as well in that fill-in position almost at left back. Endo's first Premier League start came against Newcastle, struggled in that game. His last game this before the Asian Cup, and Liverpool will really miss him. Only 2 conceded in the last 5 games of December, and Liverpool conceding fewer shots, fewer dangerous positions, and large part of that, of course, is down to Endo. Virgil van Dijk, who was sent off, of course, against Newcastle before the half hour. Konate in there as well. Diaz with his 50th Liverpool start here tonight. And then Nunez, Salah with 12 goals in the Premier League. 3 defeats this season only came with him on the pitch in one of them. They were down to 9 men against Spurs. 6 successive seasons he's been Liverpool's top scorer, on course for 7, and 1 goal away from 150 in the Premier League for Liverpool as well. And of course they will miss him. Worth remembering as well that 7 out of the 8 games when Salah and Mane went to the African Cup of Nations back in 2022, Liverpool actually won 7 out of 8 and also secured that 2-legged League Cup final as well. And then amongst the substitutes bench, brilliant to have Jota back as well, isn't it? Burnley goal took him to 9 for the season. That season we talked about before, 21-22, actually finished with 21 goals. They could do with a bit of that where these absentees are concerned over the next couple of weeks. And where Newcastle are concerned, they were a team on the up last time they came here, really struggling at the moment. 8 defeats in 12 for them. Long list of players missing for them. And they add Kieran Trippier to that list as well. He's missing for them here from the entire squad tonight. No Callum Wilson. It goes something like 11 senior players that they're missing now for their team. Nick Pope missing, of course, as well. Dubravka in goal, conceding goals at twice the rate of Nick Pope this season. Not 1 in 9 attempts against Liverpool. Botman, who's played the last 4 after a knee injury in September. Fabian Schär, who started all of their Premier League games. He's the only player that's done that, such as the Premier League absentee list for them. Joe Linton, who returned on Boxing Day after a hamstring injury, is in their side as well. And the danger man as well, Anthony Gordon, the 100th Premier League appearance for him tonight. The majority of those, of course, for Everton. 7 goals and 4 assists for him in the last 19 makes him the danger man. And you might remember Alexander Isak making his debut against Liverpool as well, and scoring a couple of seasons ago for them. Dan Burn will captain that Newcastle team tonight as well. So we all know about the run of form for Newcastle. Liverpool have to be ruthless tonight and make sure that miserable period continues a little bit longer for them.
Thank you, Pete. Yeah, interesting team news from both camps then. Interesting, no Trippier for Newcastle, a big player for them over the last season. So, although he had a dip in form in the last couple of games. With our team, though, what do you make of the decisions made, Tom? Interesting, Cody Gakpo's been really effective recently. Perhaps a tad unfortunate not to feature in the off tonight. Yeah,
well, I did the preview show the other day, and obviously we always ask for our team selections, what we think. I did put Cody Gakpo in. I think he would cause more problems today than the straight running Darwin Nunez. Nothing against Darwin, he's done very well, scored against Burnley, but I just thought Cody's looking sharp. He's a different sort of player, which causes central defenders like Gary and myself more problems because they drop off you at times, get the ball and run at you. So I thought it was maybe, so he's unlucky. The rest of the team is exactly what I thought it would be.
On Darwin Nunez, though, we can't ignore the impact he made when these sides met in August. It was an incredible turnaround, and it was a big moment for him, I think. I think that really injected life into him and his Liverpool career, although the supporters hadn't doubted him at all since he joined.
Well, I think when you see the 2 goals, that he'd been in positions like that on numerous occasions and fluffed his lines a little bit. And you've got to remember, this is like something like the 89th minute and the 93rd minute, so we were actually struggling in front of goal. And that one there, I think, will probably give him a lot of confidence, a lot of belief, and let's hopefully he'll get one like them tonight. So I think the fact that he scored against Burnley, I think you could see that was maybe a weight off his shoulders, to be quite honest with you. And I think big things are expected of him. But like, these 2 goals, well, I think like they stood him in good stead. Hopefully, I think he's scored about 7 goals or something like that this season so far. But there's more to come from Darwin Nunez. That's for sure.
That was a big moment for Liverpool as well, I think, wasn't it? You know, that just kept that early season start kind of ticking over. You know, the complexion of the season could have been very different if we had lost that game, potentially.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know whether the Spurs game was before that or after it, which obviously was, for all kinds of reasons, was wrong. And that's been our only defeat. That Newcastle game, because they were flying at the time, they were really sort of having a really good spell. And for us to be down to 10 men, you knew it was going to be hard. And I look back to Jurgen's, after the match, his press conference, and he was just absolutely said, my goodness, I did not, in all my games, this has been the one which has given me the most joy, because how it was achieved and the boys, how they dug in. So I think it was a massive game in more ways than just the 3 points.
And also the idea of putting Nunez in from the off, you know, he'll have good memories of facing Newcastle. It's a bit simplistic to say sometimes, but sometimes it can impact on a player. The punters will look at it, see his name on the team sheet, sing his name. They'll be reminded of what he did as well up at Tyneside.
I think strikers are a rare kind of breed, and I think sometimes they feed off that, don't they? They have teams that they like playing against, and they get a little run of goals. And I think going back to our time, like Aldo would probably be one of these players that you look against a side and you think, well, I've scored lots of goals before against them in the past. And maybe Darwin Nunez is exactly the same. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know the fella, but you know, it doesn't do you any harm the fact that you've scored 2 goals against the opposition that you're playing here tonight on your home ground, and having scored it against Burnley just a couple of days ago as well, which should give him bags of confidence.
I think the other side of it, their central defenders, knowing what he did then. The great thing about Darwin, he loves getting his sort of an eye for goal and having a rattling it. Too many times before scoring against Burnley, he's looking to have touches, playing other players, and I'm thinking, do what you do good. And when you see him make those finishes, it was proper positive stuff.
Okay, guys. Okay, we're going to pause for a moment as we say goodbye to those of you watching on our social media platforms. If you'd like a bit more Matchday Live build-up, though, you can find out the details of how to subscribe to LFC TV and LFC TV Go online at liverpoolfc.com/watch. Still to come before kick-off, we're going to be hearing from the Reds boss Jurgen Klopp. There's live audio commentary too of all the action at 8 p.m. before the Matchday reaction show brings you analysis and interviews for around about 10:15. LFC TV and LFC TV Go will have the full match replay available from midnight, and do look out for Inside Anfield on our Facebook and YouTube channels at some point tomorrow. OK, when we return after this short break, we'll look at tonight's opponents, Newcastle United, in detail. They are 9 points worse off at the midway point of this season compared to last. But which version of them will show up this evening? We're back soon.